right that the earth is mine. Burn bright, let the ember shine. You know I'm gonna get it every time. Champion, wearing the crown. I can see my name in lights. Spark from the heart and it shines so bright. Yeah, so let the whole world know. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go.
I don't think we're live.
Oh, we're not? What the fuck? There we are.
It says schedule on mine.
I'm looking at this on YouTube.
Oh,
what up,
there
YouTube?
we go. Good deal. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
it's now loaded up for me.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
StreamYard faked you out, man.
It did. It faked me out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Madden simulation for week 4 of the Panthers NFL season against the Arizona Cardinals as the Panthers come off their first win of the season against the New Orleans Saints. We're here with the C3 Panthers podcast. This is also streaming on my page on Codizzle Allen and I think my personal page along with C3 on YouTube. Yeah, Cody, you're going to be joining me tonight. It looks like it's just going to be us two talking about this matchup that I think we're all pretty excited to see what this defense is capable of doing against a guy like Kyler Murray. And we're going to see how Madden believes the Carolina Panthers will do, as they have been hot and cold on our current roster and the ratings and the performance they believe this Panthers team was going to have.
Yeah, kind of like the real Carolina Panthers, a lot of hot, a lot of cold.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to be back. I had to take a little leave, but like my man Sideshow Rob said, Return of the Jedi, I'm back. And CK, it's just me and you like old times, man, doing a Madden simulation for these fantastic viewers that we have that always come and check out C3 content. And them and love them, man. This is our dude Donald Duck, Holy Laughter, JD864 coming from Paradise in Hawaii. What's up, JD? Marcus78, Popping Bullets First, Stephen Lane, Sideshow Rob, Tim Estes, Titus Barber, and my brother Vincent Lighting. What's up, boys? CK, like I told the Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Yeah, so we've got, I try to do my best to get the roster to what we think it's going to be. The problem is there's a lot of questionables, there's a lot of uncertainty, so we are kind of rolling the dice and hoping that the main players that we're hoping to see out there on Sunday are going to actually be out there on Sunday. Last week, the Madden simulation did predict the Panthers to win by 7 points. I think it was 28-21. It was very similar. I guess spacing in the score, we won by 8. It was 22-14. And so Madden was right last week. They were wrong, I think, for both the weeks prior. I think they had us losing one, so they were right on the Giants one. I think they had us losing that one, or the Browns one. So we're gonna see what this is gonna do. Let me tell me if you can hear this, Cody. Can you hear the music?
I can, indeed.
All right, cool. Would you be able to pull in my my camera so I don't have to?
Sure can, brother.
Sweet.
JD says Return of the Mac. That's my favorite song of all time, dude. Return of the Mac. 1 second. Dude, that's the best song ever, dude. But appreciate y'all, man. Happy to be back. I'm happy to, I got a bunch of well wishes while I was out and under the weather. I appreciate everybody, man.
This is a 1 o'clock game, right?
Yes, this is a 1 o'clock game in the bank. Kyler Murray coming to town with the Cardinals.
And I think
we're an interesting matchup.
What's the weather supposedly going to be like? And can you switch this to the where this is the primary? Yep, cool.
I sure can. If I can.
Sorry, if I click out, it'll be the whole.
Nope, you're fine.
There we go.
Here we go.
It's a 405 game. Well, I messed that up. It's all good.
Oh, is it 405? Okay, my bad.
I've got it raining. I'm assuming the hurricane's going to be coming through.
Yeah, dude. So I live in Charlotte, and all the weather forecasts are saying the Hurricane Ian is coming right towards us, man. So, it ought to be interesting to see what kind of weather they have. I would look to see Kyler Murray really wanting to use his legs and run the football on this Panthers defense. And CK, I don't know about what you think. I think the big key to this game is going to be if the Panthers can contain Kyler Murray inside the pocket. I mean, they already
So
have so many weapons on the field, but his legs, you have to accommodate for that.
yeah, I mean, you certainly have to take into consideration that he is probably the most mobile quarterback that we're going to have faced so far this year. We have had success in bottling him up in the past, but he's a different player now. He's gotten his money. He's got, there is some benefit. We do not have Hopkins back yet. Their defense has only had 2 sacks all year. So there's a positive there that maybe their defense isn't going to be as heavy in the pressure as maybe previous teams that we faced. But we're gonna see what Madden thinks about this matchup here. As looks like Carolina's going to get the ball first. They're going to take the snap. It looks like Shi Smith brings it out of the end zone to the 30-yard line. Good decision there, getting 5 extra yards on top of the touchback there.
Yeah, and we're hoping to see more of Shi Smith at kick return. I mean, he's been the guy that most Panther fans have been clamoring for to get that kick return. But we got Baker Mayfield right here. And look, I haven't been a big fan of Baker Mayfield. I think Baker has kind of proven that he is a certain kind of quarterback. If he's going to change people's minds, he really has to start putting together some big-time performances. And this would be a hell of a game to start.
Well, one of the things that I think that is the biggest problem is the pressure that he creates by rushing or moving around the pocket a little bit too much. Like and look, Chris McCaffrey wide open lane.
McCaffrey,
14 yards on that rush.
We're also wondering the status of Christian McCaffrey. News has come out that essentially he's been dark all week. Who knows what that means? But they're making it sound like it's a game time decision. I don't know, man. That's going to get the rumor mills a churning if it's a 3rd year in a row injured for CMC.
Yeah, that's certainly a problem in my mind, because we definitely jinxed it in the we're going to have Christian McCaffrey for the first time on the 4th game than we've had in the past since 2019. And then lo and behold, he shows up like this. I know he made a joke last week, and Baker Mayfield again gets out of the pocket, able to get the ball away, but had all day in the pocket. He rushed out of the pocket, made it a lot easier for that defender to actually get on his tail. That's been the criticism, I think, this year. When you watch Baker Mayfield's his film, is certainly the inaccuracies, the inconsistencies, but when there's no pressure, he creates it. He moves in the pocket. He he might go bootleg and try to throw it on the run, and whereas that might be some explosive plays that have come from that. For the most part, that's something you want to try to avoid. That cannot be an every play situation. Baker is not athletic enough to be able to outrun a defensive end. And we've seen that already this year, where he's been chased from behind and unfortunately sacked. But
if you're escaping from clean pockets, you're gifting incompletions. Like, certainly, you have to be confident enough to stand in the pocket and throw. And to his credit, Baker Mayfield even said that in his press conference. I believe it was today. So
all day here there again.
Yeah,
but he's able to get for the first down. And
I'll take the first down.
And that pushes it across the midfield to the 34-yard line of the Arizona Cardinals, as the Panthers are now knocking on the door of the red zone, hoping to get points on the first drive as we move forward here.
Yeah, I mean, good job using your mobility, sliding. It probably could have went out of bounds, but all right, I'll take it. A first down is a first down, no matter what.
Certainly. Yeah, and that's we've got DJ Moore down at the bottom of your screen there. That's something that we're going to be looking to see him get more involved as Christian gets the handoff here. Not able to get much running room there. He's only able to get 2 yards on that carry as the Carolina Panthers now bring up 2nd down and 8 with 8 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, Laviska Shenault had such a big game against the Saints. You wonder, if they're really going to make him a focal point of the offense this Sunday. Another thing is DJ Moore. The coaches have been getting on to DJ Moore about not separating in his routes, which is something that I know you said in the postgame show, CK.
Yeah,
So there is this, yeah, there is a feel of, is it Baker being inaccurate, or is it DJ not getting the requisite amount of separation?
certainly. And that was a shovel pass to the one and only LaVisca Chenault, as he's able to get it to the 25-yard line, bringing up a big-time 3rd down and 2 as Christian McCaffrey takes it across the line to gain, bringing up another 1st down, getting to the 20-yard line, and they are knocking on the door. But the question mark around the wide receiver performance and their ability to get separation is it's clear that they have gotten separation. It's not to say they were locked down the entire game. And when they did, either Baker didn't see them or he didn't throw it to the receivers accurately. That's something that I think that could be fixed with Baker settling down, with maybe a little bit more of a timing, and that as those guys start to connect. I believe yesterday, DJ Moore was informed of what Rule had said about the wide receivers not getting open or their need to get open. And it almost seemed as though DJ Moore didn't agree with that. He didn't want to agree with it. And he almost said, well, you got to listen to what coach says, all that stuff. But he also came back and said, it doesn't matter if you're open by a half a yard or a yard and a half, that you're open. And if the quarterback looks at you and doesn't think that you're open, he's going to move to the next guy. And that's what it is. He said, it is what it is. It's a throw and catch. It's a kid's game. You got to catch the ball when it's thrown your way. And so it almost felt there was some saltiness to DJ Moore in that, but
it's almost like he said more in the things that he didn't say. Oh, big time conversion over the middle.
And to one and only DJ Moore. He's able to get a 1st down conversion, a 12-yard reception down to the 4-yard line, and it is 1st and goal, and the Panthers are on the way.
We're on the doorstep, knocking at the door. DJ Moore must have heard us talking about him. This is a big-time drive. The Panthers need to punch it in right here and put some points on the board.
Christian McCaffrey with no gain on that one brings up a 2nd down as he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, another thing, too, when we're talking about Christian McCaffrey and him being on the injured list, we have not seen a lot of D'Onta Foreman. And this was the guy that we brought in expressly for this reason.
Yeah,
Ian Thomas was right open across the middle.
You can't take a sack there. Baker Mayfield takes a sack back at the 13-yard line, making this a much more difficult 3rd and 13 to the goal.
And look, if you see it, it looks like he had Ian Thomas right in the middle of the end zone. He just came back down to that spot, and he was wide open, and Baker just didn't see him. It's
what
weird.
What do you believe is the issue with Foreman? Do you believe that there's an issue from our coaching's perspective, or do you believe that he really hasn't performed in camp and on this, in practice to warrant being ahead of Chuba in the depth chart? And it's intercepted on the goal line.
Wow.
And they're going to not even get him down. Let's see what this flag is. Face mask. They're going to bring this ball out to the 20-yard line thanks to a face mask by the one and only Ian Thomas, who should have had a touchdown catch on that one had Baker not taken a sack. That is an interception. The Panthers come away with no points.
Dude, these red zone issues have been a problem for the Panthers for going on 3 years now. I mean, this is embarrassing. The Panthers have to do better with this. But also, to your point, I mean, knowing what D'Onta Foreman was able to do with the Titans, CK, and I'm watching, Thursday Night Football on the side here too. Former Carolina Panther Greg Little is the starting right tackle for the Miami Dolphins, and he's looking really good. So, CK, if I'm being honest with you, I have no reason to believe that this is the coaching staff that knows how to get the most out of all the talent on the football team. So, especially yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the interesting thing about the Greg Little situation is that is more valuable on the Dolphins team right now, at least it was, than it would have been if it was any other quarterback, because that is Tua's blind side. That is the most important side to protect from a quarterback, is their blind side, which is why normally left tackles are so highly valued. In that situation, right tackles are. And Greg Little came in there and he's been able to perform, it's seemingly okay. I don't know the stats or, what his numbers, like what his ratings have been. But from what I've seen so far, he hasn't been a liability as many would have thought he would have been based on last his performance here with the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you see a player underperforming, it's like your gut instinct to blame it on Matt Rule, just because we have so many examples of it now.
And they're still, yes, James Conner. This is another one of those situations where this might be the first week this year that we're facing a running back that isn't a world beater, but that also could lead to maybe some resting on the laurels, if you will, because Kyler Murray can act as that running back. So we're going to see what this defensive line is able to do. I think this could be a type of game that gives Brian Burns some irritation, as he does tend to over pursue the quarterback and allowing them to escape the pocket. We're going to see how these angles look, and if the Panthers can contain this offense of the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday.
Yeah, Brax with the Axe Games says Brady, the left guard, cannot pull. I would disagree with you. I think when you look back at all that film, and I was watching the show Tuesday night, and CK, I know you referenced Aaron Duncan, Dunk on Demand. He did a film breakdown, and there were a lot of times when Kevin Kwanu just got beat on the inside. And Brady Christensen's the left guard. So if the left tackle isn't making the play, well, Brady has to be there to kind of try and make up for it. Offensive line is so much complementary football.
Yep.
They play off of each other. And truly, if one guy doesn't do their job, it makes the entire offensive line look bad. So I would disagree with that. I think Brady is one of the most athletic offensive linemen on the entire team, if I'm being honest. But I don't know, man.
Kyler showing off his athleticism on that last play gets them across midfield into Carolina Panthers territory as they're trying to make something happen on their first drive of the game here, and they're able to get the ball out to Ertz, I believe, getting another first down, and they are clicking in this game so far, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking good. And listen, so much of complimentary football is scoring points off of turnovers. Well, the Cardinals just got a turnover, and now they're driving. So, I mean, this is what you want to do. The Panthers need to get a stop.
Kyler Murray going for it all day is able to get broken up by C.J. Henderson. Big time breakup by a cornerback who last week was burnt for way too many yards. And when you look at the stats, didn't do a great job starting off this Madden simulation, making some big time plays.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been very hopeful about C.J. Henderson and what he can do. I still think we've yet to see him play his best football, but those are the plays we want to see, and we need more of.
Ooh, Jeremy Chin gets juked out. Kyler Murray takes it all the way to the house. He fumbles into the end zone. Wow, it's picked up by Connor for the touchdown, I believe.
Oh, so was that a touchdown or was that a touchback?
I thought it might have been a touchback, but it looks like the ball just stopped right on the goal line. Interesting to see this replay and see what actually happens. Yeah, he picked it up. See, that's one of my issues with this simulation as well. I don't think you're going to see a player with that level of consciousness realize that the ball's on the ground and pick it up like that quickly. But nonetheless, the Arizona Cardinals are able to put up 6-7 pending the field goal here at the end of the first quarter with 59 seconds left before the second quarter. Panthers are going to have a lot to do to get back into this game because that offense was clicking, but when it got down into the red zone, that's when the mistakes were made. Baker Mayfield largely at fault for those mistakes and leads the Cardinals to a 7-0 lead over the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you draft Kyler Murray. He's going to make you miss. And that's why I said, CK, like, to me, the biggest storyline of the actual game itself is, can they contain Kyler Murray? Can they stop him from running the football? The Panthers have a good history of doing so. Like we're undefeated against Kyler in the times that we've played him. So that's going to continue to be important, especially if the weather is going to be inclement and there's going to be a lot of rain.
Ooh, Shy Smith stood up at the 24-yard line, not able to make it to the 25. I think they might have given him a generous
spot,
a generous placement there.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa has been taken to the hospital for further evaluations. The good news, similar to the Thursday night game where the Bills were playing, he did have movement in his extremities, and he was conscious, which is a positive, something you like to see. But that will bring up a big question that has been asked all week about whether or not the Miami Dolphins followed the concussion protocols laid out by the NFL Players Association in the NFL. And if they did not, it is going to be a storm and a half coming down on Miami, and potentially could be a major impact in addition to the issues that have already been brought to light with the tampering situation that they've lost some draft picks over. But we can all wish the best for Tua. He was playing lights out. Let's hope he's able to come back and continue to, his comeback campaign this year with seemingly a genius head coach down there in Miami.
McDaniels. I would love to have Mike McDaniels as a head coach. Yeah, man, prayers up to Tua. That's definitely a tough one.
Chenault wide open down there at the 47-yard line, 46-yard line as Baker Mayfield strikes and gets the first down. That's the second reception for Mr. Chenault.
I just hope that the Panthers have learned their lesson and really make it a point to put the ball in Chenault's hands. I mean, out of the backfield and across the middle on those underneath routes, on those mesh concepts, he's dangerous, man. And he's a load, CK. It's tough to tackle him. He's a big, strong guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he showed that with really limited action last week. Limited action, but maximum impact, which is something that we haven't seen since really Curtis Samuel's departure from the team. We saw that early on in his career here in Carolina, where he had a high touchdown to touch ratio. Quite honestly, it was going to come back down to earth, but there for a minute he was at a 50% touchdown to touch ratio, and Chenault looking very much similar based on his production last week, making some of those vaunted New Orleans secondary look almost silly with some of those cuts. He almost looked effortless, which is what you like to see from a wide receiver who's making plays out in the open field to get a big time play like he did last week.
Yeah, he's been a great addition to our team. We just need to get him the ball more.
And that's another screen out to Christian McCaffrey. Goes nowhere. He's got 2 receptions for -1 yard. Unfortunate.
Yep. Panther Pickle makes a great point. Concussions are no joke. We've seen him kick his career end early. And you're right, CK. If they do end up finding out that the Dolphins were lax on their concussion protocol, yeah, they'll probably lose more draft picks, I'd imagine.
Well, the problem is it wouldn't be laxed. It would be a direct, oh my God, Ian Thomas pushing himself across that first down marker.
Let's go.
Getting them to the 42 of the Cardinals. Ian Thomas for a 12-yard reception there. But I think the biggest concern from outside looking in is that it seems as though if there was any wrongdoing, it was intentional. It wasn't just a lack of following the protocol. It was a complete diversion to try to almost hide what was actually going on potentially. Now, it's hard to say that because you're not in the organization, but from outside looking in, it looked very similar to a concussion type situation, and it's hard to argue otherwise. But we're going to see, and I think we can only take into consideration what the NFL Players Association's able to find out with their investigation. Hopefully, they're able to get down to the bottom of it. And hopefully it's nothing like that. Hopefully these are 2 separate injuries and that was not a concussion. But right now it's looking very damning and potentially career altering for a guy like Tua. As who was that? That's Trimble was able to get to the 26-yard line from a pass from Baker Mayfield, who's been pretty accurate on this drive so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of underneath stuff, which is good, which is fine. I mean, get the ball out of your hands, stay in the pocket when you have a clean pocket to throw from, and put the ball in the end zone. I mean, Baker Mayfield should be able to do all these things.
And
Big
Christian's
run.
able to make some things happen as he's able to push it across the 14-yard line of the Cardinals, bringing up another first down. This offense is hurrying, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, this offense is really trying to make a move here before the end of the half. Christian McCaffrey finally broke off a big run. I mean, we have to continue to get our offensive weapons making plays, and I feel like we're not doing it frequent enough, but better late than never, man.
Yeah, better late than never, and we're hoping that that's actually something we see translate onto the field. I will say this much. The last 3 years that we've played the Cardinals, our offense finds a way to look explosive, and it could be a get-right game for our offense. For a guy like Baker Mayfield, I think there's going to be a confidence potential that can boost him forward. But we're going to see, I think, if he can get comfortable behind this line and trust that his line is going to protect him, and trust that his guys are going to be where they need to be when he gets the ball out, and that they're going to understand the playbook forward and back, then I think that Baker is going to make some big strides and big improvements. Chenault gets a touchdown, bringing the Carolina Panthers to a tie game against the Arizona Cardinals with only 6 minutes and 54 seconds left in the half. Cody, that's your boy, Chenault.
That is my boy, Chenault. And kudos to Baker. He made a nice pass across the middle. Still kind of flew the pocket a little bit early. But it's what I said, CK. This man is a strong wide receiver. He's more like a running back than he is a receiver. You have to really lower your shoulder if you're going to stop this guy's forward momentum. Laviska Chenault is a unit. I think he can be a real red zone weapon for us. And like people in the chat room are saying, hasta la Vizca, baby.
So right now, the emergence of Laviska on this team leaves a pretty glaring question mark in our wide receiving room. Right now, Terrace Marshall Jr. was a healthy scratch last week in favor of Chenault, who is just now joining the team, right? Traded, was not a part of the camp, was not drafted by the Panthers. In all honesty, we gave up draft picks to get him here. And quite honestly, we gave up less draft capital than we gave to Terrace Marshall when we got him in the second round.
Yeah.
So the question mark, the elephant in the room is, if Chenault can emerge as an actual threat on this team, that leaves 3 guys on the outs. That's Shi Smith, Higgins, and Terrace Marshall Jr. And you cannot have 3 wide receiver outs without having one of them let go. In my opinion, the benefit right now is Chenault is a kick returner. But if he continues to play the way he did last week, I don't know how long they're going to keep him on that kick return unit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he has success, that's all I care about. We might say Shi Smith is better suited for it, or we know the coaches are going to continue to put Chuba Hubbard there regardless. But I mean, if Laviska Chenault is successful at kick return, I say let him do it, man. We haven't had a dynamic returner in a long time, and he seems like he's one big play away from taking it to the house. So maybe that is the right move.
Yeah, the Higgins question mark is big there as well. With Higgins being largely ineffective, even when he was active, as Kyler Murray throws it to nobody there, bringing up a big-time third down for the Carolina Panthers defense. Higgins has been nowhere to be seen as well, but a lot of this could also be at the hands of a quarterback who's not spreading the ball around in an accurate manner, who's not keeping the offense on the field for extended periods of time. Those all impact these guys' ability to catch the ball because there's not as many opportunities. And maybe we'll see that get better here as Kyler Murray takes the snap out of the shotgun, is able to get the ball across the 40-yard line, bringing up a first down as they're able to convert One of our Achilles heels on defense and offense is third down, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, third down in our offense has been bad for a while. It doesn't seem to be any better under Ben McAdoo and Baker Mayfield. But even on defense, man, it's like third down is a problem no matter what. On offense and defense, we continue to have problems either converting on third down or getting stops on third down. This has to change, and to me, it's indicative of coaching.
Kyler Murray takes the snap all day to throw the ball. He's able to find his receiver out on the left side of the field there. Who is that? Who is number 2 on their team? That's going to be... It's not going to tell me just yet, guys. You're going to keep you hanging there. It's that's Hollywood Brown. I should have known that. Who I think had some at least one big time game this year. This could be a really good matchup for J.C. Horn, who was one of the highest rated players in the NFL last week after that New Orleans game from PFF standpoint. I think he might have been the second highest or third highest rated player in the entire NFL, which is certainly what you hope to see from a guy who was drafted so highly last year before his injury.
Yeah, I mean, we're all so excited about J.C. Horn, what he's doing and what he's done, what he could do in the future, you know? That's something that, I mean, we're definitely hoping that he becomes a shutdown corner for the Carolina Panthers, especially considering we passed on a guy like Rashawn Slater, Justin Fields, who a lot of people are so hopeful about. One of the things I noticed watching The Sims, CK, they never have Kyler Murray leave the pocket, like, ever, unless he's running.
Unless it's a designed run. It's but they have Baker Mayfield flushing out with no pressure whatsoever. Certainly not doesn't seem to be living up to the simulation vibe that you hope a 2023 version of Madden would be living up to. But so far, Madden has been quite disappointing. It has not offered a lot along the lines of innovation for a long time. And the intuitiveness has been lacking in a lot of ways. Now, I know that might be a bit complicated to be able to get things in a real life environment to be reflected by an AI. But in this case, it definitely seems as though there's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, absolutely. And Poppin' Bullets asked me a question. He said, Cody, is there any quarterback I need to keep my eye on coming out in the draft? So obviously there's still a lot of time, but the two big names that I would look out for are CJ Stroud out of Ohio State, who is honestly kind of looking like the Heisman Trophy favorite at this point. And also Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky, comes from a pro-style offense. He has a big-time arm, and he can run, jump over you. He can do absolutely all the things. That's another name I'm looking at. Again, we're only 3 games into the season. It's so early to be talking about quarterbacks. But if Baker continues to underwhelm, CK, you can't really blame any of our guests and viewers for looking at what is available coming up in the college ranks.
Certainly not. Yeah, I mean, it's I've as largely a Baker defender. It's hard to defend a guy who has been as inconsistent. Well, let's be real about it. There's been 1 quarter of great play by him, and you want to see consistency from a guy who's playing for his life right now, right? He is playing for a spot on a roster in the NFL as a starting QB, potentially as a Panthers guy, and he has not lived up to the hype. We're going to see how the rest of this year plays out, but it is impossible as a Panthers fan not to look at some of these prospects coming out of the draft when you see guys like Kyler Murray out here, Tua, even when you look at what Trevor Lawrence is doing down there in Jacksonville, there's a lot of hope in the draft, and it's impossible not to look forward towards it. And another interception by Baker Mayfield as they're bringing it back to the 35-yard line to the 39. Wilson's able to get that interception on Baker Mayfield, who was throwing it right to the opposing quarterback in this simulation so far.
CK, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I want honest answers only. If Baker throws another interception, if you're the coach, do you consider putting Sam Darnold into the game?
If he's, are you talking about in this situation right here?
Well, yeah, like I don't think he's I think he still has one game left on IR.
If he
If I
were
were
available, I think if the game was out of hand, sure. Um, I think right now this is a second interception. If they're able to stop the Cardinals and they're not able to get any points before the half, or potentially the Panthers are able to get the ball back, then why mess with the situation, right? There's no
yeah,
benefit whatsoever by that point. If it's out of the cards, go ahead and let them go in there and see what's going on.
yeah.
But I don't see there being a massive increase from Baker to Sam Darnold, if any. Quite honestly, I think that we saw enough of it last year to say that Sam Darnold lost us plenty of our games.
Oh yeah.
And so we'll see what ends up happening. Kyler Murray using
Wow.
those legs you've been looking for him to be using in this simulation so far. That's his fourth rush for 64 yards, and he is by and large their best rushing option on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There, Kyler Murray and his feet, I knew were going to be a problem. But by the way, Jay Thomas says he's only thrown one interception. That's incorrect. In this sim, that was the second interception. So if you get to three, I mean, listen, what's the difference? You're talking about Sam Darnold numbers anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the type of numbers that Sam was putting up. So at the end of the day, I continue to feel vindicated, CK. And one of my earlier arguments from a lot earlier in the offseason is that there's not much difference between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. In fact, they share a lot of the same traits and a lot of the same negative tendencies. Not taking care of the ball in the red zone, throwing untimely interceptions. That's a trait that to me both of them share.
The argument I have against that is Sam Darnold will have 2 to 3 good games out of 17, right? Baker Mayfield and historically has had more than that on a regular occurrence. He's had great games more than half of the time, right? The issues are when he's not great, he's horrible. So
Yeah.
far this year, uh, it has been below
Abysmal.
average, yeah, on a pretty massive scale.
Yeah.
A lot of the interestingly enough, NFL Network had him move up a spot in the quarterback rankings, and a lot of the other ones have him moving down to 32 out of all the basically the worst starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah. And by the way,
Um,
Sam Darnold was ranked as the 32nd quarterback in the NFL
right.
in the preseason rankings. So again, it's tough, man. Hey, I want to shout out our boy Just Don't Care with the $5 love bomb. It says, "Miss you on Tuesday, Cody. Welcome back, CK, bro. What's up? Just Don't Care. Thank you, man. I appreciate the well wishes and welcoming me back. Happy to be back, man. You know I love here being here with my C3 boys."
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate the love and that $5 to help support the stream. Guys, if you didn't know, we do have a little thing down there, a little join button on the YouTube side over on C3
Right.
C3 Panthers podcast. Basically, you can become a C3 super fan as Kyler Murray rushes in for
Wow.
his destruction of the Carolina Panthers defense, not able to contain him as
So
he's able to
easy.
get on the into the end zone there. But there's a little join button down there, right below you. And if you hit that for $1.99, you join the C3 Superfan Club. It is not an expectation. It is an appreciation that we will have for you if you want to try to find a way to support the stream in a monetary way. If you're not able to do that, I have one thing to say, and that is hit the daggone like button. Hit that like button. This is normally we got the subscriber shame. We don't do that on the Madden simulation, but today I'm going to shame you a little bit. If you haven't hit the like button, then I'm going to shame you. Go over on the YouTube side. If you're not on the YouTube side, if you're on the Facebook side of things, if you're on my pages, go to YouTube, hit that like button, help the algorithm push this out to more and more people. We've been having a great time doing this. It's been successful. And I know a lot of you might have things you'd rather be doing right now, such as watching this Thursday night game, but you guys are here and we appreciate you for stopping by to support us.
Absolutely. Hey, who wants to watch Thursday night football when they can hang out with two handsome ass dudes like us? Okay, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, listen, you can do all three. If you're anything like me, I need to do about 7 things. Like right now, I am watching Thursday Night Football as
Same.
Burrow gets sacked, and potentially, it looks like they might have a personal foul against him for roughing the passer. But we'll see. But yeah, listen, if you guys are doing all of it, I appreciate your love, and thank you for guys for popping through here. But that being said, we got a full half left of this Panther simulation. Christian McCaffrey with almost 6 yards per carry, but largely, one of the things that we can say about Ben McAdoo is he has learned, it feels, right? He has moved into he wasn't utilizing Christian McCaffrey. He started to utilize him enough. He had the same amount of rushes last week as Baker had pass attempts. And that's what you want to see from a guy who is such an impact player like Christian McCaffrey. You want to put the ball in his hands as much as possible because you're bound to have some of these break free.
Oh, dude, this is so painful, man. And you know the worst thing about this, CK, is that it feels like this could be the game. Like
No.
this doesn't feel like it's that far off. Like at least from Baker Mayfield's performance wise, maybe not our defense. I'll give you that. The defense, I think we'd be putting up a better performance, hopefully. But this offense is absolutely putrid, man.
It's putrid, but I also I to a point I agree. And look at that. He
Whoa.
finds TMJ out there as they get the timeout, getting it across the 50-yard line to the 7 of the Cardinals. Am I wrong in that, or no, they're on there. They're not to midfield yet. But that's something I could see some of these mistakes. But the Arizona Cardinals defense has largely been disappointing this year. We had one of the Cardinals, remind me of his name. I don't know if you saw the podcast Tuesday night. He was a former tight end for the Cardinals, came on Tuesday night shows talking about the Arizona Cardinals defense, and he has talked tremendously. He talked a good amount of time about this Arizona Cardinals defense being a big disappointment. It has been less than lackluster. I mean, it's had 2 sacks all year in 3 games. That's horrendous at this point in time.
That would be
Baker
Ed
all
Smith.
day.
Ed Smith.
That's who it was. Yes, and another fumble.
Oh yeah, fumble and a recovery by the Cardinals. Wow, that's embarrassing, man. That's tough. So, by the way, a few things. They did update on Thursday Night Football that Tua is conscious and has movement all his extremities. So that's good for him. Happy that he's doing a little bit better. And then I like this because I know Poppin' Bullets went and YouTubed him after I mentioned him. He says, holy snap, that boy Levis got a big arm. Sheesh. Yeah, Panther Pickle likes him as his number 1 guy right now. And again, a guy like Will Levis, too, he's coming from a pro-style offense. So he takes snaps from under center. So a lot of the things that you're going to be asking him to do in an NFL offense, he's already doing over at Kentucky. So that's definitely a feather in his cap, to say the least.
Is there a situation that exists where Matt Rule is still the coach, but Baker Mayfield, that we're drafting a new quarterback next year?
I don't know, man. I just don't see it. Like, how many drafts are you going to... Like, now you're obvious. Since you haven't taken a quarterback in the last 3 years, now, if you're picking in the top 10, everybody knows that you're going to be more than likely taking a quarterback. And there's a lot of big names right now. Hendon Hooker for Tennessee is a name that's getting a lot of buzz. Anthony Richardson out of Florida. There's a lot of big names, but I just don't see a scenario, okay, where Matt Rule is going to get a 4th year to try and hit on a quarterback.
Right.
I don't see it.
Right. I mean, and that's the other question mark that you're going to have is when you look at the landscape, there is the potential for I think that a lot of people are thinking that Lamar Jackson's going to be free. I don't think it's the case. He is going to be franchised. If he is not under contract, the Ravens are 100% without a doubt franchise tagging him. Mm-hmm. So there is no shot outside of us trading a bunch of assets to the Ravens for us getting a Lamar Jackson. So we need to get that out of our heads. Okay. So aside from that, are there any other options out there from a veteran perspective, or do we because let's say we have a middle of the pack season this year. Do we have that loaded of a draft class where we're going to be able to get the guy at say pick 15 if we're drafting that late in the first round, or is this a situation where we really need to be in the top 10 if we want to get the guy?
I do think it's another top 10 situation. You're willing to give up a lot of draft capital in order to do so. Now, I trust Fitterer to make a move like that, but I just don't know if Matt Rule is going to be afforded the time to do so. And you mentioned bringing in another quarterback, CK. I mean, that's what we've done every year, from Teddy
Right.
Bridgewater to Sam Darnold to Baker
But
Mayfield.
the
Like,
argument,
if you're not going to go and get an elite level player
that's what I mean.
like a Lamar Jackson in free agency, then what are we doing? We're just spinning the wheels here, doing the same shit over and over, hoping for different results that aren't going to come.
No, I mean you're not wrong. I don't know that you're going to find a situation like we had this year where you had Deshaun Watson, you had Russell Wilson, you had obviously the question marks around Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. I mean, this was a weird year for potential quarterback carousel. And so I don't know that you're going to have that next year. So I think you are going to be restricted to what you see in the draft. And I say restricted. There seems to be a lot of positive talent out there. I worry because the best draft class in the history of the NFL was this Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance draft class, and all but maybe Trevor Lawrence has been largely a bust. We haven't seen any more from Zach Wilson, so we'll let him, write that tale. But Trey Lance didn't look fantastic. He looked quite honestly abysmal. Justin Fields looks god awful. And when you have that mixed with what you've seen from Zach Wilson last year, I'm worried about the idea of drafting another high quality quarterback in the draft because outside of a select few, the majority of these guys that have been successful have been the fourth or fifth quarterback drafted in the NFL.
That's true. The only thing that I push back on is if you look at all of the top quarterbacks or all the top teams right now, they drafted a quarterback. They took a chance. And another part of that equation, too, is even after last year, people were calling Trevor Lawrence a bust. He had that one bad season with Urban Meyer as his head coach, and then everybody wanted to write him off. A lot of these players, not only does their talent come into concern, but are they going to go to a team that's actually going to develop them as a quarterback? You find out that a lot of these teams just aren't equipped to do so.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Matt Rule stayed, you would see another scenario where it's like, are we even going to be putting this rook in a position to be successful? And CK, as Kyler Murray breaks it off for another first down, we haven't even mentioned Matt Corral. Like, does it even factor into this at all? Because now that he was injured, it kind of seems like a lot of Panther fans are like,
I've forgotten about him.
Yeah, no, like now he's just getting buried. If we have an opportunity to draft a quarterback next year, like a Will Levis, like a CJ Stroud, then why wouldn't you take the opportunity to do so since Corral was only a third round pick?
Let me ask that question to you because you were largely the Matt Corral enthusiast this year, right? And you wanted to see him be a successful player for the Carolina Panthers. You hated the idea of Baker Mayfield coming here because you felt like it was going to limit his ability to see the field, which largely could have been the case. He might not have had his foot injury, or maybe he did, and we didn't have. There could have been a lot of infinite options that could have happened had Baker Mayfield not been traded for. However, if Corral is on the team and Baker or Sam Darnold are not in the plans for the future, they don't plan on signing them or franchise tagging them, which by all accounts, there's no reason to. What would you see the Panthers do? What is your goal? Like, what would you look forward to the Panthers doing? Would it be a CJ Stroud, or would it be, let's give Matt Corral another shot and draft another impact player, maybe somebody who can help us maybe across the middle in our linebacker
So,
core?
CK, I'm going to give you my very honest opinion. I think if the Panthers have an opportunity to draft a CJ Stroud or a Will Levis, I don't think you pass on that opportunity.
Mhm.
I really don't. However, if we're not getting one of those two guys, then I'm gonna be honest, and I made a lot of controversy a couple months back when I put this on Twitter. I don't see a lot of difference between Matt Corral and Bryce Young of Alabama. Bryce Young is another name that's gotten a lot of notoriety. He won a Heisman last year. My thing is he's another undersized quarterback. He's like 6 foot, 195 pounds, soaking wet, and he doesn't have that elite level physical ability like I think some of these other quarterbacks have. Now, Matt Corral is also kind of undersized. We want him to put on a little bit of weight in and itself. But I think if the Panthers are picking in the top 10 and you have the opportunity to get your franchise quarterback of the future, yeah, I would do it. But other than that, if you're picking outside of the top 10, go best defensive player available, get another stud pass rusher to add on the opposite end of Brian Burns, and let's see what we have in Matt Corral. This dude has a ton of talent, has a ton of upside, has a cannon for an arm, is very mobile. I mean, I really think Matt Corral could be a very good quarterback for the Panthers. We just need to give him adequate protection and adequate weapons to be able to get the ball out of his hand, and I think Corral could be fine.
Yeah, I think you've been steady in your opinion of him and your opinion of Baker Mayfield. So it's hard to argue against you up to this point because we haven't seen enough from Matt Corral. The Baker Mayfield quote or question mark is still largely unwritten, but up to this point, I think a lot of it has been. It's very easy to assume what we're going to see moving forward from Baker Mayfield as the inconsistencies continue to pile up for him week over week. Baker Mayfield taking the snap out of the shotgun as they try to tie this ball game up with only 5 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third quarter. It brings up a big 3rd down and 7 as he passes to nobody out there across the first down marker.
Yeah, and CK, I wanted to add to the conversation that you guys were having on Tuesday, and I think Legacy Lynn in the chat room said that she loved Baker Mayfield's attitude, and regardless of how he's playing, we at least love his attitude and his bravado. The problem is, and you see another high overthrow right there from Baker Mayfield. That attitude only works if you're kicking ass and taking names in the process. Because if not, well, you're just the loud dude that talks a big game but doesn't actually get it done. Then that kind of personality becomes annoying more than anything else. So again, I like Baker's attitude, but it's only cool for as long as he's able to make big time plays. And so far in real life and in Madden, he just isn't doing that.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't been showing up outside of one quarter. We can hammer that conversation all day, all night. But one thing that I think we can all agree on is this defense is getting better week in and week out. Tony had an interesting take. I know, we talked about it on the post-game show. His take was that the defense didn't look good against New Orleans. And I think there were a lot of people that felt like Tony might have been a little bit blind in his assessment against the Carolina defense. Now that you've had an opportunity to watch some of the film, maybe review a little bit, what are your assessment of what this defense was able to do last week against the Saints?
I mean, I think it was our best defensive performance of the season. Obviously we need to work on, but I mean, we've always known that this Panthers team is going to be successful if the defense is who we think they are. We have so much talent. We have so much speed. I mean, I was really happy with what they did I think they did a good job stopping the run, and they were able to fluster Jameis, and I think that's a big deal as well. J.C. Horn got an interception. Like a lot of our guys are coming together, and that's a confidence booster. Now our defense knows what they're capable of, and yeah, I still disagree with Tony. I know him and I kind of take opposite opinions a lot of the time. I'm going to do it here again. I was very impressed with our defense, and I'm hoping that they can continue to build on that performance and shut down Kyler Murray this Sunday.
James Conner getting a little bit of steam now as he pushes it across the 50-yard line, bringing up a 2nd and 5. James Conner not really as much of a weapon for this Cardinals offense as many of the other running backs that we faced up to this point this year, but mixed with what Kyler Murray can do out of the backfield, this defense has struggled today to keep these guys contained.
Yeah,
and there's a flag, most likely going to be a holding of some sort, potentially defensive, but you got to think this is on the offense here.
Yeah, that's definitely an offensive holding. And CK, I mean, really, it's only 14-7. The Panthers are still very much in this. I mean, this game has not gotten away from them yet. So
yeah, it's the downside for our defense is the Cardinals have been able to sustain long drives. These drives have been rhythmic and they have been consistent. They've missed 3 field goals, I think, in total, which would have put this game well out of hand. But as of right now, the defense doing its job, stopping when they need to get the stop. We're going to see what happens as the Madden continues to simulate this. Right now, Teddy Bridgewater has been wheeling and dealing at this point in time. He got a big deep ball pass to Tyreek Hill, and even though it was a bit underthrown, Tyreek Hill was able to come down with what I would consider a circus catch. Is Kyler Murray all day, nobody even trying to get to him, but it's a 4th down as he slides down to the 49-yard line. The Panthers will get the ball back here with 3 minutes left in the quarter.
And again, this game is close. I mean, it's all about, can our offense sustain a drive, and can Baker Mayfield not give the ball away at the most inopportune times? That's been very important. That's been one of the reasons why we've been losing so many of these close games. Like, they're really, Baker and Sam are kind of interchangeable. How many games have the Panthers been in a close, tight ball game, but then for just simple mistakes to completely mess the whole thing up right at the very end? It's unacceptable.
I have a question. All right, okay. Let's look at this. Blinders on. Forget about who the name is and what they've done this year, okay?
Okay.
You want a tank. Who do you put in?
Oh, if I'm tanking? I mean, dude, I don't know, man. Like, if Baker, all I'm saying is this: if Baker continues to play like this, there is not a big difference between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, like everyone else was insisting that there was. I honestly can't answer that, CK. I don't know, because I feel like you could probably make a good case for both of them. I will say this though, my final thing on it, I do think Sam is more mobile, and I do think his feet are a more dangerous weapon in the red zone for Carolina than anything Baker Mayfield is giving them.
So we talk about the inconsistencies. The reason I bring up that question is I think we all can look at what Baker has done, maybe not this year so far, but in his career. Regardless of whether you believe he's been on a better team or, keep in mind he came to a team who had lost almost, I think they were completely defeated the year he was drafted. So that argument is even in and of itself a bit null and void. He had a lot of positives that year. Wasn't he rookie of the year or something along those lines that year? He did a lot of positive things, and then 2 years later he did a hell of a lot of positive things. Even in the bad years, it was a mixed bag. It was half good, half bad, right? Sam Darnold is maybe 1 out of 10 games is a positive game, is a good game, right? And so my argument, the reason I asked that is I think that we can probably look at Sam Darnold and say he's going to give us more bad games than Baker Mayfield does. Baker Mayfield is about a 50-50 shot of, based on what we've seen, for his career, there's a 50-50 shot Baker Mayfield comes in here and blows up the scoreboard. But the other 50 is he's going to shit the bed. Sam Darnold's about 80% chance he's going to shit the bed.
I mean, again, we've had a very limited sample size of Baker Mayfield. Some people even mentioning PJ Walker, if you're really trying to tank or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's just embarrassing, like, again, I'm spoiled. When I came to the Carolina Panthers, I mean, I have history with Jake Delhomme forever, but Cam Newton is what brought me to this team. And having prime Cam Newton every year, I got spoiled, man. I felt like we had a franchise quarterback that would be able to make us and help us win any and every game that we were in. And now when you have a situation where just all three of them are just so subpar, it's a tough pill to swallow, man.
Right. That one that played previously was a pass to DJ Moore that was broken up by the defender Christian McCaffrey. But he's able to get the ball there, get a first down, and get it across the 50-yard line down to the 33 of the Arizona Cardinals. And this is a potential opportunity for the Carolina Panthers to tie this game up as they are going down to the fourth quarter with a 7-point deficit. Big-time plays here, big-time opportunity for Baker to show the world what he's made of in this Madden simulation.
Yeah, man. Like, I look, it's like we always find ways to keep games close. You know what I mean? Like, there are games where it feels like we should be losing by far more than we are. But hey, credit to our defense, man. We're not getting much of a pass rush, but we've been able to stop them from putting points in the end zone. So,
what would we have to give up to get Sean Payton? We wouldn't. The New Orleans will not deal Sean Payton to us. I'm just telling you with a pretty good amount of certainty. We could probably call them and offer them 2 first-round draft picks, and they're going to say no. They don't want. They know what Sean Payton's capable of doing as a coach. I don't want Sean Payton here. I don't care how good of a coach he is. It's. I don't like the person that he is. And quite honestly, I'm tired of the Carolina Panthers being the villain. I'm ready for us to be the Cinderella story, similar to the Cincinnati Bengals. And you bring Sean Payton here, we're just the villain.
yeah, and also, why would you want to give up that amount of draft capital for Sean Payton? Because we're going to have to give up draft capital and give him. Number 2, like you mentioned, CK, why would the Saints deal him to the division rival? It just makes no sense at all. And then number 2, what makes anyone think that if this team is picking, anywhere in the low teens to the top 10, like, what makes you think that this team is a Sean Payton away from being a legit contender? I mean, I understand the importance of a hedge. Maybe that is what the doctor ordered. But I don't know. Knowing that you have not fixed this quarterback position, knowing that so much of your offense is still so Christian McCaffrey centric, it just doesn't seem like a recipe for future success. So I don't know. I just don't think that Sean Payton would be the answer for us. And then, yeah, like you said, man, I don't want to look at his dumb puckered ass lips on the sideline looking like the villain. He has one of the most punchable faces in the world. I'm good on Sean Payton, bro.
Yeah, Sean Payton, not my cup of tea personally, but you ask. We also have him asking in the chat if you want to highlight it. He asked who would be the guy to replace Rule. I think there's going to be a lot of options. Eric Bieniemy is starting to become a little bit more of a question mark and maybe a liability, and I think there's been some things that have been said that make you believe that maybe there's a reason that he hasn't been hired as an offensive or as a head coach in the NFL yet. But I'll tell you what, the one person that sticks out to me, and there's only one reason, and we're going to have to see how the rest of the year goes. But I'll tell you what, seeing a guy as animated as Ken Dorsey was because his team didn't succeed, I am telling you, I want that guy on my team. I want
Bring him
that dude.
home.
I want that dude as my coach. I want a guy who's going to have his emotions out there on his sleeve, showing, hey, do I think I need that every week? Probably not. And that's a turnover on downs. But I mean, Ken Dorsey, we're going to have to see how that offense continues to go. But right now, all signs are pointing to that guy doing a phenomenal job with a guy like Josh Allen in the backfield.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're talking shit about us in the chat or you don't like the opinions that we say, maybe say something smarter, dipshit, instead of talking shit about us when we're sitting up here doing it. Like, if you think that Sean Payton is a good option, then make your reasons for it. Don't just call us dumb because I heard one point that contradicts anything that CK or myself just said. Those are all relevant points. The Saints are not going to dish away Sean Payton to a division rival. And yet again, you're going to be giving up a lot of draft capital to go and get this guy. So either say something smarter or don't talk shit. But, that's just me. I got to school these clowns sometimes, okay?
No.
They think they could just come in here and talk all kinds of crazy shit,
Right. And the Brian Flores is an interesting conversation to have. The concern I have about Brian Flores is when you look at what the Miami Dolphins have been able to accomplish and the fact that Tua has been playing lights out and Brian Flores was non-committal to this guy in a lot of ways. It brings you back to a Matt Rule style mindset or even a Ron Rivera style mindset where he's not really given this guy an opportunity to do something positive. We saw that with Brian Burns early on with Ron Rivera. And I think many are saying, and we get a turnover. Look at that. So Brian Burns is able to get the recovery. Yeah, the Brian Burns is able to get that back after forcing a fumble as Kyler Murray was making some progress there. That might be ruled as down, but we'll see. Brian Burns currently has the fumble recovery for the Carolina Panthers. Big time play. Baker Mayfield has another opportunity to redeem himself.
Yeah, I mean, these are the moments, man. Points off of turnovers. That's what a complimentary football team does. Your offense, whenever your defense takes the ball away, you use those moments, especially in close games like this, and you capitalize and put the ball in the end zone. Let's see if they can do it.
Baker Mayfield dropping back to pass it here. Ian Thomas drops it. It wasn't going anywhere either, but odd decision to not put the ball in Christian McCaffrey's hands here as you are on the 37-yard line of the Cardinals with plenty of time left on the clock. You want to bleed that clock down as much as possible and try to eliminate the Cardinals from being able to come back and hope that, maybe if you can get the ball back, great, but hope to not give the Cardinals any time to drive down the field here. Baker is going to actually scramble here. Hold on to the ball, bud. And he's able to push it across the 20-yard line. Big time rush there by Baker Mayfield as the Panthers are now in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, they're moving the ball. I mean, if you're going to get out of the pocket, Baker, you better be running for first downs. And that's what he was able to do right there. I thought he would go out of bounds too, but he wanted to fight for more yards. I don't love that. Get out of bounds. You already picked up the first down. Don't risk the fumble. Don't risk the injury. Just, play smart football. But again, I like the fact that he's fighting.
And Christian McCaffrey's getting the rock here, is able to push it up, get a 3-yard gain. Not a lot of room to run there, but still getting progress. That's something that's been consistent with Christian McCaffrey. CMC, when there's no room to be had, he's finding a way to get positive yardage out of it. And that's why you pay a guy like Christian McCaffrey to come in here and be the focal point of an offense that's largely been disappointing year to date.
He's definitely making something out of nothing, CK. But I find that they're not having success running the ball in the A and B gaps. Like, as soon as he gets to the line, he's not breaking out any big runs. And to me, this is more of a function of our offensive line kind of being dominated by the Cardinals' D-line rather than it is Christian McCaffrey not being able to capitalize on these big plays. I've noticed that he seems to be more successful when they're ball to him on some plays or getting him to bounce the ball to the outside.
And they're going to put the ball back in Baker's hands as he takes a big-time sack. taking them into a much less manageable 4th and 13. Again, creating his own pressure, rolling out into the defender's arms unnecessarily. There was nobody in his view. He could have and stood there for quite a while. Oh, well, no, JJ Watts was bearing down on them from the other side, so possible good decision there. Unfortunately, bad decision to hold on to the ball.
Oh no, that was Kyle or Jared Allen, I think.
No, that was not Jared Allen. It was Kyle. It might be Kyle Allen, but JJ Watt was coming from the other side.
Yeah, there was a guy named Allen that came out of Boston College a few years back, and I know that that's who it is. But I mean, hey man, like these are, you were able to come away with a field goal, but did they miss or they got it?
They made it.
Okay,
It's
good. Thank God.
14-10. Yeah. That leaves an interesting situation here. Either the Cardinals could bring this to a 17-10 if we can stop them, or if we get the ball back, we have an opportunity to actually win, not just go into overtime. Right here, you got to think you're going to just kick the ball off, put the ball back in Kyler Murray's hands, and hope that we can stop them, as they're probably just going to try to run the ball, get the clock down as low as possible, and give the Panthers no opportunity to score a touchdown here.
Yeah, and that's Zach Allen, thanks to YB Jordan. I knew it was one of
Zach,
those.
that's what it is. And that's a flag. That's probably going to bring them back to the 15-yard line, as that's most likely a block in the back or an offensive holding or a receiving team holding.
Yeah, so we have 5 minutes left in the fourth. It's a 4-point ball game. I mean, CK, this kind of feels like it. I think if the Cardinals put another score on, be it a touchdown or a field goal, it's not looking good for the Panthers to be able to rebound from this.
No, it certainly looks a bit concerning if we can't stop them here early on. Don't want to get them, Kyler Murray, plenty of time to get out and cross the 23-yard line, bringing up a much more manageable 2nd and 2 as the clock continues to run.
Yeah, I mean, this defense for the Carolina Panthers, it's a video game, but it's kind of like they're tired, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing in real life. You know, when your offense is never putting up points consistently and your defense is always out on the field, then it's like they're having to do so much. They're tired. Wow,
big tackle. Big tackle for a loss by the one and only J.C. Horn, who is coming in clutch on Madden. They're seeing how important he is to the Carolina Panthers defense, just like the New Orleans Saints saw how important he was last week when he forced a turnover, not once, but twice, when he got an interception and tipped the ball into Derrick Brown's hands, making a diving catch as the 300-pound lineman, Derrick Brown. Listen, big-time game last week, and J.C. Horn showing up big here today.
Yes, it is. Putting the boom on Kyler Murray. And, you know, especially when you know that Steve Wilks is our defensive coordinator. And we've already started to see it, man. They like to use those speedy corners to blitz off the edge on those fire blitzes. So that's been a real successful blitz for us.
And this is all Kyler Murray has had to do. Hold on to the ball just a little bit. Let Brian Burns and those edge rushers just get clear out those A and B gap that you talk about, Cody. And he has just been able to get 10 yards, 15 yards, easy first down runs there. Kyler Murray hasn't had to throw the ball once on this drive.
Yeah, I mean, why? Remember, it's raining also. So why throw the ball in the rain when you're, gaining a pretty decent clip running the football?
Yeah, 2 yards there. Luckily, Brian Burns was able to close the gap, get Kyler Murray down before he was able to get the edge. Brings up a 2nd and 8.
Yeah, this is a big time. This is a big time series of downs, man. We have to stop them.
If you don't stop him on this one, you got to think it's going to be difficult. Kyler Murray most likely going to throw the ball here, able to get his receiver across the middle, brings up a 3rd and 2. But you got to think the way that this defense has been playing in Madden simulation so far, they're going to find a way to rush this right up the middle with little to nobody within 10 yards of him before he's able to get the first down.
Yeah. See, this is a big time down right here.
And he gets it out. And that's got to be the nail in the coffin as he gets it to the 49-yard line, to the 50-yard line. midfield. 3 minutes and counting left on the clock here as the Cardinals are driving. Got to imagine they're going to be running from here on out.
Do you recognize the name Chris Stravler? The chat room's arguing about this dude. I have no idea who he is.
I heard somebody said that he was on the practice squad of the Jets or something. I have no idea. They'll have to educate us potentially on some catcalls for the post game, or maybe on Friday Free For All tomorrow night.
I have no idea who that is, man. If
Luvu almost got him behind the line.
Oh, let's go, Frankie.
And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 7. The good news is that they're probably going to run the ball, and that's going to give the Panthers an opportunity, because where this has been the most problematic is when Kyler Murray is dropping back. He's able to get tremendous amount of movement by rushing when not intended. All right, 2-minute warning. Carolina Panthers down 14-10. The Cardinals have the ball on the 47-yard line of the Carolina Panthers. 2nd and 7. Big set of downs here, but all 3 timeouts for the Panthers.
Yeah, this is.
And they almost did stop them. It's going to be 3rd and inches here, and nail in the coffin is almost upon us here. They are 1 yard away from icing this game out. And we'll see. They're not in a heavy formation here. This could be a pass. I doubt it, but we'll see. And it is a sneak right up the middle, and he's able to get the first down. And that is all she wrote.
Yeah, that's going to be it, man. A close game in Bank of America Stadium. I mean, it's clear what Madden thinks of us. We've been doing this for 4 weeks now, and it's just obvious that Madden doesn't think we're a good football team, and rightfully so. We haven't proven anything. We haven't done anything. The Saints team that we've beaten there, Saints fans are saying this is one of the worst teams that they've fielded in years. So I don't know. We're really still kind of wondering who this Panthers team is and if they have it within them to turn this down. Again, like I said, Madden clearly does not think so.
Yeah, Madden, when we first did the Browns game, we felt as though they were being a bit pessimistic on the Panthers, not just the defense, but the offense. The defense has turned it around, IRL, if you will. The offense, not so much. And that's a trend continuing. They got the first down. That's going to kneel it out here from the rest of the game. A low-scoring affair, probably expected with as much wind and rain that's out there right now. Multiple missed field goals, multiple interceptions by Baker Mayfield, and an offense that largely couldn't get going. And when they did, it was inadvantageous turnovers in the red zone that really iced this game away for the Panthers.
Yeah. Again, just no complimentary football, man. Just, whenever your defense is making big-time plays and doing what they can to stop this team, and then you just do nothing in return, I don't know, man. And then again, this is just a Madden simulation, but I feel like so much of this is being played out with the actual Carolina Panthers. They just don't know their left from their right when calling this offense, to the point where DJ and Robbie Anderson, they're running different routes than Baker Mayfield expects them to run. There isn't a lot of cohesion with what this team is doing. It's hard to put it all on Ben McAdoo too, seeing as how this has been a trend literally from day one for these Matt Rule-led Carolina Panthers.
Matt Rule, much better looking in this game than he was last year, as we coined the phrase "rat mule" in our Madden simulations that I think many people have taken to actually call him in his current state of the Carolina Panthers head coach. Matt Rule coming in here in the Madden simulation, putting up a big L in front of the home crowd. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, as this is what's left over from Hurricane Ian, as we continue to pray for those guys puts our thoughts and prayers down there for the guys. The people in the area in St. Petersburg, Punta Gorda, and all across Florida, really, that have been impacted so heavily by these storms.
Naples, I thought Naples was just completely
so many
flooded.
people. Yeah, it's been a devastating storm to say the least, and I know that North Carolina is going to have their fair share of rain, but luckily I think that the tropical storm force winds should be died down by that point to where you guys are really just getting a bad storm, not so much a hurricane. But Kyler Murray, big time numbers here with 80% completion rate. Not many yards to say for it because, well, he didn't need to. He just had his legs to get him all the way down the field as many times as he did. Only 3 receptions for DJ Moore. Christian McCaffrey, only 63 yards on the ground on 14 carries, and Robbie Anderson, 2 receptions for 25 yards. Baker Mayfield, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 180 yards. Par for the course outside of the interceptions. There's only 1 interception he's thrown all year in the real NFL, but here tonight he threw 2, and the incompletions being actually the 62% completion rate is better than what he's had as a Panthers quarterback so far year to date. Cody, I mean, we didn't get our chance, and I think it's your and I opportunity to do our picks on this, and we'll let Greg know what our picks are. Right now, there's a couple of games. The most important, we'll save for the last, and that's the Panthers. I want to start with the first game that we're going to see played on Sunday, and that is the Vikings and the New Orleans Saints as they are playing in London on Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be football all day on Sunday for us. Who do you got in that matchup?
You cut out when you said the name of the game. Say it, or the teams.
The Vikings and the New Orleans Saints, and they're playing in London.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with Minnesota, and I think it's just because they're gonna run the football. I don't know if Dalvin Cook is available. I know that he had been hurt. If he is available, I'm probably gonna go with the Vikings. I like Justin Jefferson a lot too. Yeah, I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that I'm going to go Vikings as well for a couple of reasons on top of what you've stated. Jameis Winston is clearly still playing hurt. There is a possibility that the Red Rifle is going to be in there and Andy Dalton playing for the New Orleans Saints. That changes their offense up a great deal, in my opinion. And we're going to see what they're able to do. But after their big loss, there is a potential they come out and it's a get right game for them. But Minnesota has, outside of their shit in the bed on primetime television, they've been a pretty dominant team up to this point. So we're going to see what they're able to do against a New Orleans team that has all the pieces, just questionable coaching and questionable quarterback play. Now we move on to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be facing Kansas City this week. Tampa Bay is getting Mike Evans back. He only was suspended for 1 game. Julio Jones is, I believe, still a bit of a question mark. Godwin's still out. I believe he's going to be out for another couple of weeks with his strained quad, if I'm not mistaken. But they do have Cole Beasley, who's going to have a full week of preparation with this wide receiving core and could, find himself being an impact player for this team, as he's always, I think this is the type of player that Tom Brady really thrives with. He's like a Wes Welker type or a Julian Edelman type of player who's maybe not going to burn you down the field, but man, he is going to be able to get you those slot, get in that slot position and get open quite often. Who do you got in this game?
I'm gonna go Kansas City. It is interesting though. Did you see Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy at the end of their last game were fighting with one another? They lost to the Colts, and there seems to be a bit of a disconnect there. But I don't believe that Chris Godwin is going to be ready to go for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think at the end of the day, KC has a little more firepower. I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs have a little more firepower. They have a much better improved offensive line as well. And so I think that leads to the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line, quite honestly, has been god awful. It has not been good. for the first time since Tom Brady's been there. He has, been pressured on a tremendous rate, or at a much higher rate than what he's used to being down there. I'm going Kansas City here, and I think Kansas City beats them in a. I'm not going to say they're going to get destroyed, so I'm going to say Kansas City wins 28-21.
All right. So a close ball game, relatively. Yeah.
I don't have the Falcons game up. Who is it that they play?
I will look it up.
Let me look. I'm sure our chat here will tell us.
Browns.
I got the Browns all day. The Browns are going to they might embarrass the Falcons here.
And do you know what sucks? Okay, when we're talking about these franchise quarterbacks, it's like if the Panthers want a franchise quarterback, it's going to be even worse if the Falcons get their pick before the Panthers do.
Mm-hmm.
And they drafted Desmond Ridder, and apparently they like him a lot too. But I don't know, man. It's just so tough having to race your most hated division rival for the most important position in football.
Right.
So, but yeah, I do agree with you. I think the Falcons are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They don't know how to close out. I'm going Cleveland. They're gonna continue to roll.
Yeah, Cleveland. And then we come to the game of the hour, and that is the Panthers against the Cardinals at home. The Panthers, believe it or not, are favored in this matchup, which I think is a bit of an odd thing to see. But who do you got in this matchup, Cody?
So, CK, I'm going to say 21-17 Panthers. I know I've been a pessimist. I picked against the Panthers, against the Saints. But I don't know, man. I even thought maybe I should continue to jinx them, pick them to lose time, and then maybe I reverse jinx them into a win. But I think that the Panthers have done a really good job of having this number, and I have no reason to believe that wouldn't continue. I think our defense has another good performance. And again, man, to me, the key to this game is containing Kyler Murray in the pocket. If we don't do that, this game could really get bad and really get away from us.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it could get bad. I don't think we got an offense that's built to come back from a deficit. So it really depends upon how well we do starting out the game. If we continue to get ahead, I think we've got a good opportunity to win this game. I went. I had the inkling to pick the Panthers last week, even though we had made the decision that we're not going to pick the Panthers until they prove to us that they can win. And they did last week. I think the law of averages tells me Baker Mayfield is due for a good game, and this is going to be the one. I think the Panthers win in a dominant fashion, 35-14.
All right. I would love that, man. to have that would be the game of the year for us if we could put a performance together like that. Yeah, I would love that, man. That'd be awesome. And bring us to 2-2. We would be having to reevaluate kind of what we think about this football team.
Yeah, I saw somebody think about how different that mindset is. If you go 1-3, that means you have to play another 3 games before you can potentially even be at a positive number, right? Whereas you go you're 2-2, you're 1 game away from being a above 500 team in the NFL. So I think it's such an important game. I think we're going to see some big time plays by this offense. I think that's a get right game for the offense, and that's a bit of optimism for me. And if it doesn't work out, hey, I was wrong. I've been wrong before.
Yeah. If it doesn't work out, I'll just blame it all on you, man.
Yeah, blame it on me.
Well, I think that does it for another version of the C3 Madden 23 simulation, doesn't it, CK?
It does, man. It does. I think it was it's always fun to do this. We didn't have as many people in here again. I think we might next week have to try the Saturday night formula like we did the first time. We had actually more views in one day before the game than we did last week between Thursday to Sunday. So we'll see law of averages. We're going to look at the experiment and see. So next week, I plan on being live Saturday night. And that's right before I have to leave because I'm going to be going to the game next week for the San Francisco game. So, and then, we'll hopefully maybe get some post game stuff from on my way home.
Yeah, man. Look, almost 30 viewers at the very end of the stream. Requested over 60 viewers. You know we love you guys. Hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Keep pounding that like button. Help us kick the ass of the YouTube algorithm and get us in front of as many eyes as possible of Panther and NFL fans alike. You're awesome. CK, you have anything else you want to say to these people before we get out of here?
No, man. Just keep in mind tomorrow is the Friday free for all. Also, I've got to give a shout out. We know this is all just free advertising, but here's the thing: we want to appreciate the people who have tried to support us, and that's going to be our sponsor, Manscaped. Go use their code Panthers at manscaped.com. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping anywhere in the world. And that's going to provide you with a lot of different products, but one of their main is the Lawnmower 4.0 that's going to help you with your manscaping needs, grooming below the belt, and making sure to help prevent potential nicks as we are all deathly afraid of when we are in that type of situation down below. And then the other sponsor is PrizePicks, guys. PrizePicks has been is the first official paid sponsor of the Carolina Panthers, or for the C3 Panthers podcast. As we learn a little bit about their product, we've fallen in love with it. We are all very much into what that offers. You can use the code C3 and they will match your deposit up to $100. But it offers you a way to maybe enjoy the game that isn't just whether the Panthers win or lose, but whether Baker Mayfield has more than 200 yards this week, or whether he has more than 0.5 interceptions, or however that may be. And you can put some real money on the line and potentially double, quadruple, you could do a lot of things to make some extra money that way. So go check that out. That's going to be PrizePicks, and use code C3 when you sign up, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. That's free money right there, guys.
Yeah, all first-time users that deposit and use our C3 promo code will receive a $100 instant deposit match up to $100. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Man, listen, if you have some good stats that you feel like are gonna pay off for you when breaking down these matchups, hey man, money, dude. Make some money. There's no reason why you shouldn't. PrizePicks, like we said, love them. That's our first actual legit sponsor. So shout out to PrizePicks. CK, this has been fun, man. Just me and you like old times. Happy to see you again, brother. And,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we will be back to doing this Sunday. I guess for the post. That's gonna be a late post game show too.
Oh no.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I got House of the Dragon, man. We might have to change some things around, but I don't know.
Cody might be AWOL for the post game show, guys. Is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, instead of living in the misery of potential Panthers loss, I might opt for House of the Dragon instead. But YouTube viewers, you've all been awesome. C3 Panther family, you have all been awesome. CK, you're always awesome. And that's it for the C3 Madden simulation. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.